Welcome back, weary travelers, to Recorder on the Wall, where we are continuing our quest to go through every single Redwall book and a bunch of other stuff in between. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Katie.
Hey.
Okay, so that's Drew.
Hello there, I'm back. I'm alive.
Drew's alive?
I've risen from my coffin for the month of October.
It's no...
Yeah, just gonna bury myself in some coffee now. we're off to a rough start.
Well, if you couldn't figure it out by now, Pete will not be joining us this week.
Yeah, it's been like 20 minutes into this call and we just, started talking about, podcast things.
Yeah. So if you remember a few of our other episodes where it was just the three of us, we will eventually get through everything. No,
Maybe.
no. Maybe. So we are covering Book 2 of Pearls of Lutra, Westward the Warriors.
In other words, the book that made me cry twice. Actually, the one that makes me cry twice every time I read it, because it's sad in parts.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the bloodiest Redwall book?
Long Patrol?
Long Patrol does exist.
Yeah,
Krega.
or maybe Rackety Tam. That had some graphic descriptions of flesh eating. Well, not graphic, but for a kid's book.
For a children's book, there was an adequate amount of flesh eating.
Yes.
Doomwhite wasn't really violent. It was just... Yeah.
Disturbing, yes.
Creepy, yeah. We'll eventually... God, we're actually a pretty decent way away. We're still a pretty decent way away from Doomwhite. Yes.
I liked Doomwhite.
We're over halfway there, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Publication order, we're number 9. Chronological, we're at 11.
Sweetness.
Oh, holy cow. All right, so Book 2 naturally picks up where Book 1 left off.
Yep.
Does it?
That'd be funny if it was like 3 seasons later.
Yeah.
Actually, Outcast Redwall does do that.
Oh, so does Tagarung. Book 2 is called like 15 seasons later or something like that.
Oh, right. Isn't Book 1 of Takarung like 20 pages?
I don't know. It's shorter. It's not like ridiculously short because there is a lot of stuff you have to get into, but anyway.
Yep.
Anyway.
Would anyone like some cool whip?
Oh no. We're on tangent number 358.
Yep. So we pick up with Martin, Skipper, Geralt, and Klecky are off to rescue the Abbot and Viola. And they mention that Klecky found a hair, bow, and arrows. And I'm assuming those belong to Basil.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say that.
That would make sense considering the timeline.
Yep. And we had left off Book 1 with Angry Martin wanted to go after Lask and probably turn him into a belt. So they are off to do just that.
So, okay, I had a question. I was looking at the end of Book 1 and they said telling only Alma of their plans, they went and did this. And then the very end of Book 1 is like Alma's like, hey, where are Martin and Skipper? And
no.
Wait a second.
I noticed that too. That was kind of weird.
Is it like, is she playing super secret spy? Like, I have to act like I don't know what's going on, even though I do know what's going on.
I don't know. I think this might be just a case of Jake's forgot.
Aw, but I wanted to do the super cunning badger spy, mother spy badger.
Do.
Yes.
I'd say maybe Constance would have done that, but I also have a feeling Constance would have been like, no, I'm going with you. I want to smash things.
Right.
Constance, are you going to bring a weapon? I have a table.
Yes.
Constance, weapons. Holds up fists.
I mean, to be fair, Alma did some smashing and strangling in her day, too.
Just badger things.
Yes, average badger things.
If a badger doesn't pick somebody up and choke them in the book, were they really ever a badger?
Unless you're Rossano the Wise.
Yeah. Or Rusano the baby.
Well, yes.
Jacked baby.
Yeah. So,
anyway,
when they go after this group, we actually get, I think, one of the few competent henchmen ever who notices that Skipper and them are sneaking up, and he actually gets the drop on Skipper.
Yep.
He's immediately killed when they start, but hey, A for effort, dude.
Right.
Better than like one of the other villains that I think when they were being snuck up on, they just rolled into the fire on accident.
Yeah, ow.
So they all rush in and attack, and the villains get away. And so I like the fact that Lask Frilder is like, I don't want to mess with the mouse with the sword. Can we go now?
Yes. And is this where Skipper gets wounded, or is that a little bit later?
That's the next fight.
Okay.
That's when they catch up to them the second time.
Yeah, there's a lot of fights going on.
Yeah.
Everywhere. This entire section of the book is just a constant brawl. On Sempetra, back at Redwall, in the woods, on a boat.
Yep.
I will fight you on a boat. I will fight you in a moat. I will fight you, Martin I am. I will fight you anywhere.
This is how on wavelength we are together, because I was just trying to think of a way to fit that into Dr. I was like, I will give it like 3 seconds of silence before I start this. You beautiful man.
Aw.
Well, meanwhile, back at Redwall, they're like, well, there's a dead grayling and a live grayling, and we need to get the pearl from one of them. So let's trap the live grayling underneath a boat.
Yes.
Flawless plan.
Well, this otter, she really wants her soup, you see, so she's going to do whatever it takes.
Yep. I do like the fact, though, that they ask her, like, oh, could you check if there's a grayling in there? It's like, do you really need me? Like, you didn't need me to just do that. Oh, of course. Well, if we just want to know if there's a grayling, we would just toss a dimon in. That's pretty good.
Was that Cracklin or Picknam who said that? Because they both seem like they're pretty like ornery, as my grandma would say.
Picknam. It was Picknam. It's if a big fish was all we wanted to know about, why we could have just tossed a dimon in to see if he got eaten. Then we'd know there was a big fish in there.
I love those two so much.
I keep trying not to read Picknam as Pikmin.
Yep.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. And so, meanwhile, and so they decide to, like, Glenner is the otter's like, okay, I have a plan. You better get me some soup.
Indeed. There's another female otter as well, Skipper's daughter, who comes a little bit later. And I just didn't know why they didn't combine this female otter character into one. I mean, I do appreciate there's lots of females in this. I just didn't know, like, there's a lot of characters, and I didn't know why he couldn't have made these two one character.
I think it's Glenner is someone who's actually... is she part of Redwall, or is she part of Skipper's crew?
I think she's part of Skipper's crew as well, as with I think Rangapa is his daughter's name.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it does seem like Rangapa is more of like the second in command to Skipper.
Yeah. Okay.
So like Glenner's one of the rank and file, and it's like, hey, I get to get off guard duty and help and get some food. Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Meanwhile, back on Sam Petra, we get Riskanza, who is officially the smartest villain in the book so far by giving Ublaz a scarf so he doesn't have to look directly into his eyes.
Yeah, good plan.
That's Fox stuff.
Yep. And these two obviously don't trust each other completely, but
Yeah.
they seem to have some sort of respect for each other.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Badgering and Clog, only different.
Yeah. If Clog was craftier and less goofy, I think.
Right.
But Clog definitely more likable than Riskanza.
Yeah, Riskanza is a bit of a hard sell, we'll just say.
Yeah.
Random thought, though, what happens if/when Ubalaz runs out of timber? Because they keep saying, like, oh, he has this big stockpile. What happens when he runs out? Because there's no more trees on the island.
Have to send people out to get more, I guess.
Yeah, timber ships?
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I was like,
That's kind of odd, though, that's kind of the currency of the island. It's like, we've got your wood, and they're like, if we sail away from here, we could also get wood.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks of that, so it's fine.
Yeah, it does. I mean, granted, some of these guys aren't the brightest bulbs in the box, but I feel like Riskanza is actually, well, we do get to a point where Riskanza's like, let's just get out of here.
Yeah, why are we still here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the reason is his ship's destroyed.
Yeah.
Yay!
So back in the forest, our heroes find the enemies again, find their enemies again, and we get Geralt making the dumbest decision I think so far, where our heroes get ambushed by the people they're trying to ambush, and the first signal that they've been ambushed is sling stones start flying at them. So Geralt, realizing that their position has been compromised, seeing the projectiles flying, goes, I'm going to fly up into the air.
Yeah. He's a little impulsive for an owl.
Yeah.
Next level tactics.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he unsurprisingly he gets a stone right to the gut and plummets like a rock. So, oops. But this is the part where Skipper takes on a lizard one-on-one with just a sling and manages to kill him.
Yes, getting himself grievously injured in the process.
Yep. Which, it's a good moment because, one, it shows how tough Skipper is, but it also shows how dangerous the monitors are, because we haven't really seen them fight. So it's good to see, like, oh man, if Skipper, who's this big tough otter, can barely beat just a random rank and file one, how tough could Lask Frilder be?
Yeah, that's foreshadowing for the fight to come.
Yep. And also the fact that even seeing that, Martin's like, I don't care, I have a sword, I'm going to kill him anyway.
Yep.
Big sword. Kill thing. Martin!
Indeed.
Martin smash.
Martin smash.
And back, there's a lot of jumping around at this point, because we have a lot of subplots. Back on the ship, Romska's getting annoyed with the lizards trying to eat poor Viola and Abbot Durrell. And finally just gets angry, and the lizard's like, you can't order me around. And she goes, well, here's an order. Die.
Yeah.
Just runs him through. Romska does not care.
Nope. Don't mess with Romska.
This does have some of the best one-liners in Redwall, I think. That was one of my favorites. Here's an order. Die.
Yeah.
And then immediately whirls around and is like, all right, who else wants some?
Yeah.
Like, we just saw Skipper barely survive a fight with one, and she's threatening to take on an entire group.
Great character.
Yes. I really like Romska.
I'm a little dense, but what is her race?
Ferret.
Ferret, okay.
Yep, and the abbot seems to really be fond of her as well.
Yeah, they're BFFs.
Yeah.
I think at one point doesn't he be like, "Oh, thanks for watching out for us," and she's like, "Oh, shut up, I'm not watching out for you."
Yeah,
but you are though.
I didn't do it for you. totally not trying to help you. Shut up.
I don't even like you, baka. Ramska the Tsundere.
It's not like I care about you or anything.
Just stay in the cabin.
Yeah.
Don't get hurt. Here's some food. No, I'm totally not being nice to you.
Shut up.
Keeping a prisoner alive.
Yeah. And just as they're getting ready to leave, all of a sudden, a wild Grath appears. Grath used snipe. It was super effective.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Grath's first pop-up since she got her boat. And now she's like, ooh, that's a big ship. I'm going to shoot everything on it.
Yeah.
Another action sequence where Grath is attacking, Martin and his team go to attack, and Abbott Durrell, being really brave and just like, and caring and selfless, goes, here, Viola, get out of here. He tosses her all overboard so she can be rescued, even though he knows it's just going to make them more angry with him.
Yep.
Yes.
That's a good Abbott, though. A good Abbey leader.
That honestly propelled him into like one of the best Abbotts in the series for me.
I agree.
You know, the fact that he was able to actually take action and not just, you know, lead by being like, oh yes, let's have the warriors handle everything. He's just like, I'm in charge of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, which makes his condition as the book progresses even sadder to me. I just think of, pitiful old man. And the scene it reminds me of the scene in Beauty and the Beast where they're like really mean to Belle's father and they like throw him out of the pub and stuff. And the actor makes these really pitiful sounds and it just makes me cry every time because I don't know why, but that's what it reminds me of. Like, no, be nice to the old man.
Maurice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, you should.
Oh my God.
Well,
Jeremy,
I'll most likely be subscribing to Disney Plus so I can watch it on there.
You've seen like every obscure movie under the sun and you haven't seen Beauty and the Beast.
It's one of the few 90s Disney movies I have not seen.
I've watched the 1986 version of Power Rangers, but I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast. What the heck's a Tarzan?
I would recommend the 1994 version. Wow.
Oh, Lord.
I've seen Aladdin like 1,000,000 times. I've seen The Lion King about 1,000,000 times. At one point, I think I had Aladdin memorized.
Uh-oh. Tangent.
Yep. We need to ring a little bell every single time it happens.
That was my fault. I will take responsibility for this one.
And I like the fact that, at least in this moment, Grath's desire for revenge doesn't cloud her judgment, because when she sees Viola, struggling to swim, she stops her attack and goes to save her.
Yeah, I mean, is there ever a moment in these books where the hero is fighting and someone is in danger and they're so focused on fighting that they don't notice? I mean, maybe a badger?
Well, definitely badgers. I can definitely think in Martin the Warrior when Martin and his army arrive and just assault Marshank. Martin is so obsessed with attacking that everyone sees like everybody's getting killed and they start trying to pull back, but Martin's too crazed and focused on badgering until Rose like smacks some sense into him.
Yeah, that is true.
Man, you're kind of right though. Like there's never I want to see that. I want to see that hard decision where, due to somebody's literal negligence, somebody else gets, either critically injured or harmed. In this children's book.
Yes.
I have to tell myself that every once in a while. I'm like, why can't he deal with these things? Somebody can, twist. Well, considering what happens later in this chapter. He does. Jakes definitely does go for a darker moment, an undeserved moment, in terms of the character didn't do anything particularly wrong, but we will get to that.
Yeah. Then back at Redwall.
Back at the wall.
Meanwhile, back at Redwall. The super friends take care of the grayling.
Ooh.
With the help of a very large badger.
Yes. So Glenner's plan is, okay, I'm going to lead the grayling over to this part of the pond. We're then going to drop a boat on it. You're all going to sit on the boat while I casually go down to the bottom of the pond and figure out, try and find the pearl.
Yep.
Yes.
Sounds foolproof.
Yep. And it works.
Yeah, I love the description of how it's like Picnam held on to Cracklin and Cracklin held on to Tansy and everyone held on to Alma.
Yep.
She's the anchor.
Yep. And Glenner pops out and goes, okay, let it back in. And the grayling goes back in, which in Redwall, didn't Matthias and Brother Alf catch a grayling?
Yes. Yeah, that was like one of the first things that happened in the book.
Yeah. God, they were buff.
Yeah.
Apparently these things are like brutal.
Yeah. This is the original Grayling's, great grandson.
I mean, maybe because it says that this grayling had been around since Firmold was at the Abbey, so maybe this is just a giant old one, that got very, very giant and is not in a condition to be caught and eaten, and is very old and fierce.
Yep. And it's hilarious because they say like Firmold kept trying to capture Grimjaw the grayling, and how does she take it out? She haphazardly tosses the pearl into the pond. The grayling tries to eat it, chokes on it, and dies.
Yep. Good job.
There we go.
Should have used a dibbon.
Yeah.
Less valuable.
We then get, once again, Tansy's more focused on the fact that they don't have a clue to the next pearl rather than on the pearl itself. Like, getting the pearls is not as important to her as finding the next clue.
Indeed.
And so they're all like, well, let's go eat. Tansy goes to sleep and gets visited by the original Martin, who is feeling left out of the cryptic hints, and is like, I know what to do.
Find the babies.
Yeah, because Diggum, Gerbil, and Arvin have decided to head up to the attic and shut themselves inside of a closet. So,
yes, and get fusticated.
Yep.
Oh.
Custipated.
Yep. But now back to San Petra, where Riskanza's like, this was too easy. Maybe we should get the heck out of here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not wrong. And so he decides to spread around the Corsairs, not just sea rats this time. And it's like, hey, spread the word. We're getting the heck out of here.
Yeah, we're ducking.
Yep. And
except for there's a spy. Oh no.
Yep. And so then Ublaz shows up in the morning, and Baltur, one of Riskanza's dumber henchmen, it's like, boss, he totally knows our secret plan to run away. Shut up.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Like, good lord, dude. How could you possibly know our secret plan to leave? Who told you?
He totally knows our social security numbers, our 497s.
Oh my goodness. I like Ublaz's plan though. He's like, mutinous crew members here to kill me? They're trying to leave? No. I will keep them here. And you're like, is that wise?
Yeah, it is kind of weird that he would want them to stay when he wants them to go out and bring him treasure.
Well, I guess maybe he thinks that he can hypnotize or otherwise subjugate somebody after Riskanza dies.
It's true, yeah. If Riskanza's out on the sea, he can't kill him.
But then why not just assassinate Riskanza instead of making his entire crew pissed off at you?
Maybe Ublaz is not too smart.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna take your I'm gonna take your ability to steer away. Oh, and we're gonna replace all your tillers and rudders. Oh, and here's 5 captains for the 5 ships. I'm sure they'll be perfectly safe in your hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just think that Ublas likes being in control of everything, and like if he's not, if they're out on the sea, he doesn't know where they are or where they're going or if they'll come back, and that bothers him.
This isn't in my bullet journal.
Yeah.
He's a micromanager.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're not scheduled for pillaging for another month.
He's had many a long discussion with Vermin HR about not micromanaging so much, and he just has trouble listening.
He then hypnotizes Vermin HR and goes, I am doing a perfectly good job. You are doing a perfectly good job.
Yeah,
these are not the pearls you're looking for. These are not the pearls we're looking for. And so Balter speaks up again, and it's like, that's not right. He's replacing us. I'm totally not shouting loud enough for him to hear me. And then Ublaz's just like, what's your name? Moron? All right, moron, go jump in the sea. Okay.
All right.
And Riscon's just like, God, why did I make him a captain?
Yeah.
And so Risconza, looking at these 5 new captains, looks at one of them and goes, hey, you, come over here. Literally, the next paragraph, he's dead.
Yep.
And like, Ublaz goes, ha, that's funny. Break all the rudders and tillers.
Yep.
Triple them.
Yep. And Risconza is like, well, I still have more quote-unquote captain hostages. Dude, I don't think Ublaz cares.
Yeah. Doesn't he say, like, did you think I was going to send you valuable people?
Yeah.
Seriously?
It was later on. He's like, I still have those other captains. Like, I don't care. Like, they're idiots. Like, they're all dumb. Like the one that you killed. And no, I know you killed him. Don't give me this. He slipped and happened to fall on his sword shtick.
Oh, whoops. I like, there's a paragraph that I think just summarizes the entire book. It's, the mad-eyed emperor had emerged as victor in his murderous game against the wave vermin. However, he had reckoned without the chain of events he had set off by slaying Lutra and his kin for 6 rose-tinted pearls.
Pretty much.
I want 6 pearls! 10 hours and, like, 500 dead bodies later.
Yep.
Whoopsies.
Did he ever really have a valid reason for getting those pearls besides it'll make my crown look pretty?
I don't
Treasure,
want
shiny.
money. I want money!
Shiny treasure. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but it's not like there's really like a monetary, like economic system going on around here.
No, not at all.
They kind of just have to create their own purpose in life. Like, I don't blame them either. It's just like, there's no money, there's no real power invested in this. Like, what even do you do with all of your treasure? You just have it. It's something that you want. Everybody needs a hobby.
Right.
And that's Redwall as a series.
Everybody needs a hobby. That's right.
Everybody needs a hobby. Cleaning the Scourge is just playing Jenga. One day he's like, you know what would be really funny? Taking over the world.
At least some of them have reason. Like Clooney's like, well, I want a place to live. And Farago's like, I want a place to live and I want treasure. And Gabul's just insane.
He's nutty.
Yeah,
Yes.
Nuttier than a fruitcake.
And he already has a place to live, so he has no motivations. Redwall's really a book about real estate.
Wow.
Ungat Trun just has a god complex, and it's like, I this is a nice mountain. I want it. This isn't your mountain. I want it.
Want it.
This is mine now.
And then Zarmina just is mad with power.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Okay,
She
so
wants it all, and she wants it now.
Yes.
if they don't have a home, they're a warlord. They're a conqueror. If they do have a home, they're insane. I'm sensing a theme here.
Well, Badgering had a home, and he was pretty level-headed.
Yeah, dang it. My theory. Years of college wasted.
Badgering is the anti-villain. He was the most competent one of them all.
Yeah, Battering really did make sense. I don't want to stray too far from Pearls, but like, of everybody else, Battering actually had, a real plan. And his villainy was that he was taking slaves to achieve it, which is why people were like, we need to get him out of here. Where, what's his name? Who's the villain in this? I've already forgotten his name. Ooblas.
Sounds like a blast.
Give them to me.
So, meanwhile, back on the shore, Grath is like, well, my boat broke again, and it'd be really convenient if the shrews showed up to help me fix it again. Hey, shrews, how's it going?
They're like, did you break another boat? She's like, sure did. They're like,
Yep.
oh, man.
Yeah, this is a very short, they said goodbye to her, like, oh, it'll be a long time before we see you again. We're so sad. And then, hey, 5 minutes later, we're back again.
And as a contrast to the previous couple chapters ago, where Grath is like, oh, I could kill the sea rats later, I'll save Viola instead. Now it's, oh, you guys have a sea rat that's tied up? Start running.
Yeah.
Like, geez, okay, you're So they're like, no, Grath, we need him for intel. And she's like, but I want to kill it. You can kill him later. Okay.
Ruh-roh.
And meanwhile, back on the ship, Durrell is just really brave, where he's just casually talking to Ramska and Lask. Like, Lask picks him up and threatens him and asks him, like, who are those creatures on the shore? And he's just like, those are probably the shrews. They're pretty tough warriors. If you just let me go, everything will end. Like, he's just very calm.
Yep. And he calls Lask my son.
Yep.
My boy.
Yeah. And he even says, I am your enemy, not your son. He's like, I am an abbot. No beast is my enemy.
Right.
Why do you not let me go free and sail from here in peace? And he does respond honestly, because they ask him about the pearls, and he literally does not know what the heck they're talking about.
Right.
And our heroes go on a valiant attack, and the big ship gets away.
Yep.
And I'd like to think if Alma was with them, she'd just be muttering like, why are our enemies so good at outpacing us at crucial moments? Like, I mean, seriously, the same thing happened to me when my dad was following Slagger.
Yeah.
Escape!
Yes.
Give them that plot armor.
Dramatic tension.
Yep.
Yes.
And meanwhile, back at Redwall, they're like, where are the kids? And they find the kids, and they're like, let's leave them in the infirmary, where they get a fate worse than death, which is you got to eat the warm nettle soup.
Yeah.
Ick.
I actually feel sorry for them now.
That is one thing. Oh, go on. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's one thing that like Jakes does really, really well is whenever there's like some punishment for the Dibbins, you feel for them. It's like you have to eat this warm nettle soup, or you need to, take this medicine, or you can't do this. I'm just like, oh man.
Yep.
It's kind of like reverse nostalgia. Like it's it's a bad memory from your childhood.
Yes.
I feel like Brian Jakes took a lot of slack when he was a kid. I know there was isn't that kind of a Brian Jakes fun fact? They wrote a short story when he was a child, and his teacher Yeah, his teacher was just like, you couldn't have written that. Like, it's too good. And punished him for it. So I think he really does have a mindset of like, if it's a false punishment, the person doing the punishment is going to get their just desserts. And if it's a justified one, it's going to be a little silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And that was back when they had corporal punishment. So I think he actually got the cane for that.
Oof.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And he's like, I wasn't gonna tell him that I made it up because I didn't make it up. It was my story.
Just take it. I will not lie.
Yeah.
He's sitting there. He's like, tell me. No.
Yeah.
Tell me. No.
And I think after that, he's like, after that, that's when I knew I was a good writer.
Who's a good writer? My origin story.
Yeah.
I will become famous, unlike that English teacher who has no name. Lost in the annals of history.
I wonder if that's who Sister Cicely was based off of.
Maybe.
So Tansy and crew go back. They're told, like, hey, could you board up that old cabinet, instead of, destroying it? Because now you're going to have a boarded up cabinet that just sits there and collects dust.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, maybe we should check inside it before we board it up. And they point out that Fairmold most likely inherited Matthias's fishing rod.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah. And so they open it up and they get a nice little well done message from Fairmold, because here's the new clue.
Yep.
He was in the closet the entire time. Right.
It amuses me because there's this word puzzle I like to play in my free time because I'm kind of a nerd. And after each of the puzzles, there's this little message that says "well done," and it makes a little chime sound, and it makes me very happy. So now I just picture them opening up the fishing pole and it goes "bring, well done."
Good job.
Yes.
So they get a new clue, which is like it's telling them they eventually figure it out, because apparently I notice a pattern in this part of the book. Each time they get a new clue, suddenly one of the other people on the Abbey is a poet. But somebody will say like a poem or a rhyme, and that gives them the idea.
Yep.
So they discover that it's in a
House Martin's nest.
That's it.
And because it was like, something about a house and then what's the name of our warrior, and then put it together with north, east, south, and the last thing in my heart, or something like that. It was much more gracefully written than me trying to cobble it together from my brain.
It's my fourth tear I shed for the Abbey red wall, laid where it never should hatch or fall, below the mouth of a mouse looking south. I'm gonna get a tongue twister.
Yeah.
All in a deserted dwelling. So sit o'er the maiden hair, gaze up north, and solve what my next words are telling. Put a home with our Abbey warrior, north, east, south at the start, then to complete the riddle, add the last thing in my heart.
House Martin nest.
Yep. So, meanwhile, back at Murder Central, San Petra. We've got Ublaz and Raskanza's wacky villainous antics where they're like, I could kill this guy. Go ahead, I don't care. But I'll just break more of your stuff. I've got you surrounded. I don't care. I've got you surrounded too. Well, purple monkey dishwasher. What?
You think you have outsmarted me? Well, I've outsmarted you outsmarting me. Well, I've outsmarted you outsmarting my outsmarting. Plans within plans. Plans for days.
I will plan, and then you will plan. But I will plan around your plan. You will plan around my plan. We'll all be planning and scheming.
Ublaz is playing fourth-dimensional chess.
Just imagine like Raskanza going on this big rant, and then like Ublaz sitting there going, "Are you done yet?"
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm fixing the rudder back onto your ship. Why don't you go out and get some treasure and keep turning that rudder back and forth and totally, ignore the fact that I might be treacherous and don't check it beforehand.
Yeah. Maybe they should hire, or not hire, because I don't think anyone hires anyone in this series, but maybe they should employ some people to, do a quick check over of the craft, make sure everything's ship-shape, make sure all the tools and all the moving parts are working as expected, and then go out onto the sea.
You've heard of Vermin HR, but now introducing the Vermin Union.
Vermin CQ, quality control at your service.
Vermin Teamsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you contracted us to fix your ship. And everybody's busy murdering each other, and they're just saying, they're like, there will be work when this is done.
Yeah.
The world needs grave diggers and ship builders. Yeah, it does imply that there are vermin who are skilled enough to build ships.
Yep.
They didn't, or did they steal all of them? Because I think it's implied he's like, oh, well, we can attach another rudder to your ship, or we can do this. So when this place is inevitably stormed later on, I'm just thinking about all of those poor craftsmen who are about to perish for no reason.
Yes.
Unfair.
Who's making these new tillers and rudders anyway? Like, are his trident rats like actually carpenters on the side?
Yes.
Like,
Maybe.
I feel like the lizards aren't smart enough to do it. Like, they would just start chewing on the stuff.
Maybe.
But like, now it calls into question the economy of this land again, because it's like, well, what do you pay somebody in for fixing your ship? It's like, if you fix my ship and you build this rudder and, a new tiller and something, I'll give you 6 rupees. I'll give you a golden ship.
I feel like some of the characters in these books would just be like distracted by shiny pieces of glass.
Yeah.
Look at the keys! Look at the keys! Look at the keys!
There's just one dude that's blinged out, like, yeah! It's like...
Wasn't the bull like that at first, where he had like little plaits in his beard and gold teeth and everything, and then it all like rusted?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, and people can be paid with anything. I watched a cartoon when I was younger. I don't know if you guys have heard of Homestar Runner, but one of the characters in that convinced the other one that illegal tender was pencil shavings, and so he goes to the the only business in town. He's like, I would like whatever, and puts a whole pile of pencil shavings on the counter, and he's like, what is this?
And Ublaz sits there and giggles, and he's like, ha, I booby-trap the rudder. Every time they use it, it's going to poke a hole in the ship, and then they'll all die, and all my enemies are gone, except for every single creature that I've ticked off in all of Mossflower.
It'll be flawless. Really good scheme.
And then...
Yeah. I even like the fact that Sagittar, however you say it, is kind of unnerved by this, and Ublas is just like, isn't it hilarious? And she's like,
yeah. No. It's like, yeah, it's real funny. They're all gonna drown. That's great. Oh dear God, I've made a bad career choice.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back in Mossflower, Viola's doing that character growth thing and is become kind of brave and cool.
Yeah.
Yo, all it takes is a kidnapping.
Apparently.
You got a daughter or a son who's acting up at home? Well, entrust my business, the White Truck Foundation.
Windowless Van Incorporated.
Speaking of bad career choices.
Oh boy. Yo, that actually sounds pretty good. I'll after this podcast is over, I've got a really great sales pitch that I don't want to put on the air.
All right then.
That sounds creepy.
All right then.
All right. Meanwhile, back at the plot.
This is my 6th cup of coffee. Please forgive me. I'll just say another cuss word and Jeremy will have to cut it.
I'm making Pete edit this one.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
Yep. Viola gets... So, we find out eventually that Viola is the Flash, and I'll get to that in a moment.
Sonic.
Viola, she can really move. Viola, she's got an attitude. She's told, you can't come with us because you're a kid with no real experience outside of Redwall, and you'll most likely be killed. And so they like, go back to Redwall, we'll have you escorted. And she gets pissed and goes, well, I can find my own way back, and leaves. And as we later find out, she was escorted all the way to the front door of the Abbey. Keep that in mind. So Logalog then says, like, okay, you should take these two shrews with you. They're my sons. They're awesome. They also bug me. I want them to go off and get some experience killing Corsairs.
Yep.
I hope they die.
And they name their ship the Free Beast, and I'm sure it's going to be perfectly fine and won't break in the very next chapter.
I'm sure.
So then, meanwhile, back at the plot in Redwall.
Back at the plot.
They still can't figure out what they're looking for. Or they know what they eventually figure out like what they're looking for. And Geralt comes over to help them. And I actually like this because they're trying to think like a bird. And of course, Geralt is a bird. So he has literally a different point of view from them.
Yeah.
And he's able to, like, he immediately figures things out. Like, they're going, we don't know what could happen. We don't know where this is. We've searched the grounds. And he's like, well, did you look at the nest? Did you check this? Did you look for this? And they're like, huh?
Yeah.
He helps them out. And they're like, all right, it was stolen by a jackdaw, which is some type of bird.
I really don't know anything about them, except for the fact that they're apparently very mean.
To Google.
To the web! Drew, bestow on us information about jackdaws.
Jackdaws are a small, gray-headed crow that typically nests in tall buildings and chimneys, noted for its inquisitiveness. It's a corvid, which means it likes shiny things a lot.
All right, that sounds exactly like the ones in this book, then. So,
they're monogamous.
Logalog now shows up at Redwall, which that was quick.
They did the sprint. They were practicing their sprint.
Apparently. And so they're like, they tell the story, and Logalog goes, well, where's Viola? She should be back by now. And he goes, hey, you two who were supposed to escort her and totally should have done your jobs properly. And they're like, well, we escorted her right to the door, and then she said she'd be fine, so we left her, and now we don't know where she is.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Yep. Meanwhile, apparently Arvin, Diggum, and Gerbil, who have not learned their lesson yet, wander off into the woods.
They want to see, their motivation is we want to wander off and then come back all dirty and scratched like Skipper and Geralt, and then everyone will be happy to see us and feed us and not make us take a bath.
If we almost die, they'll respect us.
Yep.
Yo, that sounds legit, though.
Yeah.
Perfect
We
baby
young
logic.
thugs.
So, Waterlog the Fox, Raskanza,
Yes.
and his steers rat Guja wash up on the shore with the perfectly intact tiller and rudder.
Yep. And
And
he is not very happy.
no, he's slightly perturbed.
Yes.
And it goes back to Ublaz and is told, yeah, so Raskanza's alive. Oh, is that Grawl your goal? Oh, he's dead.
Wow.
And Ublaz is not happy. She's like, oh, I don't want to bargain with people for the pearls. I want to take it. That's it. As soon as Lass gets back, we're going to turn them right around. I don't care how seasick they are. We're going to go to Redwall. I'm going to burn it to the ground.
Fun times.
Nobody's ever tried that before.
Yeah.
Nope.
Sure, that will turn out real well for them now that they got like the entirety of the Gossam and Skipper's crew there.
Yeet.
Meanwhile, back on the Wave Worm, Ramska continues to be awesome.
Yes.
And she is definitely, like, she has a good heart, but she's still kind of in that gray area of morality where she likes being a Corsair. She likes the pirate life and is not shy about killing it all. And obviously she was part of the crew that slaughtered the Lutra clan. But she's not evil. Like, she doesn't come off as just outright cruel or anything. And she's not, like, full-on Blaggett, but she's not, you know, she's definitely in that moral gray area where she starts to soften up around Durrell. And part of it might just be she's more pissed off and threatened by Lask. And by doing this, she can antagonize him a bit, too.
Yeah. Yep, and I think that because Blaggett was, no offense to him because I like him a lot, but he wasn't smartest. But it seems like Ramska is very smart and very canny, I think is the right word, just clever. And I think it's cool because then he's making a character that, although still in gray morality, you know, Vermin can be smart and also have good intentions and, you know, good motivation sometimes.
Yep. And so Lask is not happy, thinks that they're lost again, which they probably are. And Ramska's like, I don't care, shut up, stop trying to make trouble. And Lask has that last threat of, when I start trouble, Ramska, you will be the first to know.
Yep.
Gods, the one-liners in this are just,
Yeah.
Love it.
Then we go back to Martin's crew, and Viola's on the ship.
Woo!
So she was able to, in the span of like a page, and it felt like basically 5 minutes went by, went all the way back to the Abbey, then ran all the way back to the coast and hid in the boat without anybody noticing.
Yeah, you think she'd be out of breath. It's like, why are our supplies breathing?
Why are our supplies gasping for air? Like, good Lord, that was really fast.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she's with them and that she's determined to help rescue Abbot Durrell because he put himself at risk to save her. Yeah. And this is part of her character growth. Like, the Viola at the very beginning of the book would not be doing this.
Yeah.
No.
But it is a little like, I don't know, I have a hard time believing that she made it there and back so quickly.
I'm also, like, it's seen as a good thing. It's seen as an admirable thing because it's, you know, she's going specifically, her intentions are good. She's going to save Abbot Durrell. But isn't she like 12?
Yes.
Like the human equivalent of a child?
Yes.
She's like, I am going on this dangerous mission, and it will be perfectly good. They're like, you are a literal liability. We're tossing you overboard right now. And she's like, dang it, we're foiled again.
Martin even says to her, like, you know, you realize the entire Abbey is now worried sick about you, and for the rest of the book, they're constantly checking Mossflower Wood for her.
Yeah.
Oops. And she went, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me send her a text.
Yeah.
Sorry, on boat.
Could get bird delivery service.
There we go. Carrier Seagull.
Gotta wait till Hyrule Lane for that. Then they have a bird that carries messages.
Right, I forgot about that. Ooh. I guess Chib in Mossflower was kind of like that.
Yeah.
They paid him in what was
candy
it?
Chestnuts.
Like candy chestnuts, yes. I want those now.
So Martin being the greatest captain and lookout of all time, allows the ship to slam into an iceberg, and Blade Witch, their sea rat captive, is crushed to death.
Yeah, like I could sort of understand. It's like, oh look, there's a mirage of Redwall. Oh look, there's a mirage of a mountain. Oh look, there's a mirage of a. Oh wait, that is not a mirage. Whoops.
Crunch. Grath's boat must have been cursed. Martin's like, I'm on top of the world. Crunch.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. So Grath's boat must. I love the fact that they specifically name it because, like, one of the shrews goes, "Oh, it's bad luck not to name the boat." Well, apparently it was bad luck to name the boat too.
Yeah, this poor boat, keeps getting smashed.
Just don't get on a boat in a Redwall novel. That should be basic Redwall survival.
Pretty much. I mean, it's at least it's not like the half-scorched one from Mary of Redwall, where like a ship accidentally taps it and the whole thing collapses.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess, in Martin's defense, they don't, he doesn't know anything about being on the sea, and he doesn't know what an iceberg is. Though, granted, I've never seen an iceberg in person, but I'm pretty sure if I was in a boat and I saw a giant thing of ice, I would try to steer away from it.
Yeah, that seems logical.
I do like their little makeshift tent on the boat with the tiny fire. Like, all that with the warm food does sound kind of cozy.
Yeah.
Tansy and crew work with Garl to figure out what the next step will be, and he's like, here, put a little shiny thing inside the nest, and when a jackdaw finds it, we follow it. And they're like, oh, and that does sound kind of obvious.
Yep.
Unfortunately, as we find out, he forgets to tell them like useful information about jackdaws. But
yeah, like they're very dangerous, and maybe there's not just one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This will not go wrong.
Well, no, definitely not.
Meanwhile, Arvin and company are lost, and they kind of remind me of the trio from Mariel of Redwall. Where was it? Like the two little otters and
the mole, yeah.
The mole, where, except instead of, being super useful by cutting ropes of climbing sea rats and sending them to their doom, they're just causing everyone undue stress.
Yeah.
Back in my day, Dibbins used to be useful. Now they just get in trouble.
I do like the end of the chapter, though, where it says, they slept on, snouts twitching and paws quivering occasionally as they dreamed small dreams.
Yes, that comes up a lot when he's, speaking of children sleeping. I think it's a very nice way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
Small dreams.
Yeah, it was very cute. And they find out the jackdaw heads off to St. Ninian's, a.k.a. Free Evil Lair.
Yes.
Good Lord, this is the third time, guys. The third time. And Geralt, after watching the Tansy, Picnim, and Cracklin run off, is like, oh, there might be more of them. We should probably try to catch up to them, and I totally won't. Rollo, you should totally come with us and not, warn all the warriors that we have at this at the Abbey right now.
Yes, and did we mention that Geralt at the moment can't fly, so he's just kind of hobbling after them?
Yeah, like if he could fly and was at full strength, I'm sure he'd be okay against like a bunch of jackdaws. Is like we've been shown that owls are really tough, but yeah, like there's not one fighter among you. Like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, it's like 3 12-year-old girls, an old man, and an injured owl.
Yeah, like, I feel like after they ran off, Geralt should have said to Rollo, go get Log Log or some of the otters or some of the Gossam and have them meet us there.
Yeah.
I don't know, just hand a child a dagger. What have you got there?
A knife!
No!
Meanwhile, the trio get discovered by Rangapa and the Adders, and I really like the fact that Rangapa and the Otters are like, oh no, where they the trio is like, oh, we were looking for lizards and stuff, and we were trying to fight them. They're like, oh no, you scared all of them off. Don't worry about it. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cute. And then they return with the Dibbins. Nobody, and it's night now. Nobody seems to notice the fact that Rollo, Tansy, and the rest of them are missing.
Yeah, and I just have to comment on, I love the fact that Rangappa is a head taller than her dad, and she, like, shoves him around. Despite the fact that he's recently been injured. It's like, be careful with your dad. He's the only dad you've got.
Yeah, so they find then a creative way to get the Dibbins to behave, where Rangappa and Skipper like stick up for the Dibbins, and then Skipper goes like, okay, you know what? If they want to be otter warriors, they have to behave. They have to listen to their elders. They have to stay indoors. Like, they get them to do what they're supposed to without punishing them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I swear, it's all because of Jake's in grade school being accused of something he didn't do.
Yep.
It's like, taking the cane.
Things then start getting a little bit darker with Tansy and Cracklin running back, saying that bad stuff went down at Ninian's, which, hey, something bad happened at Ninian's. Never seen that before.
Yep.
And Logalog's pissed.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, because like we're kind of being shown that it's very foreboding because Picknum's not with them, and all they can say is like, oh no, oh Picknum, and they're just sobbing. It's like, okay, something bad has just happened.
Yep. And I just love the way it describes it, where it says, Logalog drew his rapier, his paws trembling with rage as he turned to Skipper. Get your daughter a crew. I'm going to get the Gossam, and we're going to kill some jackdaws.
Yep.
Youch.
Like, he's also, this Logalog is a father, and he's like, I just saw some young ones, injured. I'm thinking of my own sons who are off somewhere else. I'm going to kill me some birds.
Right. Yes.
Meanwhile, Ublaz is not having a fun time because one of his monitors is dead.
Again. It seems like this apparently. Is like I don't know how many times this has happened, but it hasn't been the first time.
Yep. And there's like a bit of sailcloth in it. And it says like, ha, Raskanza, totally killed you. Pwned. Ha ha. LOL.
Yeah. Doesn't it say like death to Mad Eyes and then from Raskanza?
Yep.
From Raskanza.
Like,
every villain in this. So extra.
Yeah, it's like 2 Ublas 6931. Haha, killed another one of your lizards. From Raskanza XOXO.
And Sagittar's like, could we not hunt them down? And Ublaz goes, no, you moron, we can't hunt them down. It's a giant island.
They want my palace. They'll take my palace. I can't leave my palace.
And we get good moment with Raskanza where he's actually a decent leader, where he lets his higher-ups in on his plan. And when one of them speaks up, like, as complaining, Gruja, saying, like, well, we don't have ships. I kind of want to have a ship. Instead of, like, berating him or punching him or stabbing him or doing one of the things many, many, many other villains have done, he goes, well, okay, I have an idea. This ship looks like it just, is just scuttled. Why don't you go fix it? Let's go fix that up, and then we'll have an extra ship. Like, holy cow. Vermin HR is looking at him going, see, this is what we're talking about. This is what you should be.
Right.
He's shown in all the training videos. Like, be like Raskanza. Don't be like Ublaz.
I want someone to make those now, the HR training videos.
Get on it, fans. Vermin HR training video.
This is Raskanza. And then, like, this is Ungat Trun. Watch their different strategies.
Can you see? Now, Ungat Trun has heard some bad news from his subordinates. Now, what do you think he should do in this situation? Watch how he handles this. Strangle throughout the window. Can you tell us what Ungat has done wrong?
Oh my goodness. Well, you've got a good grasp of training videos, because that would be like, now let's revisit that. And then it's Raskanza.
Yep. Let's go to Risconza and see what his decision was.
Delegates tasks. Sets goals.
Put up like a poster, be like Risconza.
Be like Risconza.
Meanwhile, Ublaz gets another dead lizard and another note and says, which, you know what, I have to say, this is pretty well worded for a Corsair. Like, normally we hear that they're, like, can't write worth anything, and it's, we will talk together tomorrow. Ignore this, and I will burn you out. Hoist a green flag if you agree to meet me. Midday in Middle of Island, Wisconsin.
Winky face.
Yeah. Dead monitor. LOL.
Woohoo!
Ublast is like, oh, do I have to reply like that? All right. Has pearls? Lol, Ublast.
Lol, Ublast.
I'm burning your ships.
Heart emoji. XD.
But so Ublast is like, okay, fine. I'm gonna hire some people to shoot him with arrows. That'll totally work. I don't see this being sabotaged in any possible way.
Never ever.
Spoiler, it gets sabotaged.
In every possible way.
Yep. Meanwhile, back on the waveworm, Durrell's, he's not doing too well.
No.
He's starting to lose it. And he thinks he's back at Redwall. Unfortunately, he is jerked back to reality because the war between the Corsairs and the Lizards has finally come to a head, and they are fighting.
Yeah. And so is he, I think at this point, he's not actually thinking he's back at Redwall. He's just imagining, like hoping, like, you know, just kind of imagining himself back at Redwall. Not like he actually thinks he consciously is. I think that's later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounds more like, he's imagining, like he's trying to just go to his happy place.
Yeah, to distract himself.
Yeah.
And then a big old lizard head comes in through the door. So then he's like, well.
Here's Lasky!
Yeah. I love the way Jakes describes this scene because he hears the scuffle, he hears everything, and then it's just like thump. And he's like, oh, somebody's at the door. Thump. He's like, oh, gods, they're coming in. Thump. And then a lizard head straight through the door. Romska's just like, sup, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Romska's like, I wanted to hang his head on my wall. This is as close as I could get.
Yeah.
Push the door open, close the door, push it open.
Yep.
Squeaky. I'm Lask Frilder. She's got a jaw. I was being a butthead. I wanted to eat the mouse.
They get back to San Petra. Ublast is like, Lask, are you okay? I'm perfectly fine.
That's neat. I just watched Men in Black for the first time last night.
Oh, really? You'd never seen it before?
I had never seen it before, and the alien that wears a dude like a skin suit, I just imagine Lask looking like that. It's just...
He walks, it's Romsko wearing Lask, and he goes, like, Lask, what you want? Sugar. Insert her. So that's a dramatic way to end a chapter.
Yeah.
Just head through a door. I gotta give Romska credit for having the physical strength to slam his face into a door and smash his head through it.
Yeah. Especially considering, what condition she's in a little bit later.
Yep.
I like to think that she's just chuckling while she does it. Like she knows she's gonna perish and she's just like,
Yep.
Lizard. Dumb.
It is interesting because we don't actually get to see the battle.
Yeah.
We just hear a little bit of it from Durrell's perspective. And I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like we get some intention of not knowing where it's going. And there is a lot of action in this book. But I kind of would have liked to see Romska versus Frisk. Or Lask. Oh my God, I messed up his name in my notes. I called him Frisk.
Frisk.
Frisk Louder.
Frisket for the biscuit.
He's frisky.
Yeah.
That's his new nickname, Frisky.
Frisky.
I do kind of like this way of seeing a battle though, because it's in a way it's kind of building tension in a different way, because like you're the abbot, all you can hear is crashes and screams and like, oh, there's someone at the door, and it's like building tension in that way without being able to see what's going on. Mm-hmm. There may be an obvious reason why I like that kind of action, but
Right. So just back like with Martin's crew. Huh?
Nothing.
Oh. Back with Martin's crew. Seals!
Ah! I love the seals. They're funny.
Yep.
Yes.
I do like the seals. They're very different, and it's nice to meet another sea-dwelling species.
Have you guys, do you guys know the Navy SEAL copy pasta?
No.
Nope.
Well, it's entirely profanity, so I can't say it on air, but there's a copy pasta that people use online that's about graduating from the top of the class of Navy SEALs and like killing somebody through the internet. And I just imagine, here, I'm just gonna post it in our chat. Read this in the SEAL voice when you get it.
Oh, whoa. What? Oh, wait, it disappeared. How do I... Oh, there it is. Oh, that is really long.
Here, should I just start saying it? Whoever has to edit this, watch me go.
Hom! What the hom did you just homming say about me, you little hom? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Sea Seals, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids on San Petra, and I have over 300 confirmed kills. I am treating guerrilla warfare, and I am the top SEAL in the entire Otter Armed Forces. You are nothing to me but just another sea rat. I will wipe you the hom out with the precision the likes of which has never been seen before in Mossflower. Mark my homming words. You think you can get away with saying that hom to me over the ocean? Think again, Homer. As we speak, I am contacting my secret network of spies across Salamandastron. and your seagull is being traced right now, so you better prepare for the storm, maggot. The storm that wipes out the pathetic little thing you call your life. You're homming dead, kid. I can be anywhere, anytime, and I can hom you in over 700 ways. And that's just with my bare paws. Not only am I extensively trained in unarmed combat, but I have access to the entire arsenal of the Salamandastron Long Patrol, and I will use it to its full extent to wipe your miserable hom off the face of the Earth continent, you little hom. Keep going, you got it. If only you could have known what unholy retribution your little clever comment was about to bring down upon you, maybe you would have held your homming tongue, but you couldn't. You didn't. Now you're paying the price, you homming fool. I will hom fury all over you. You're homming dead, kiddo.
And you made Drew cry.
Was that good? Now we don't have to censor it.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. All right, well that was fun. I think I broke Drew.
You broke him. He will never be the same.
I didn't expect that.
Oh, that is staying in. That is absolutely staying in.
Oh, my chest.
Oh god, I'm sweating now. So, what were we covering?
Anyway,
oh yeah,
seals.
Seals, Tom. So now every time the seals talk, I'm just going to assume they're swearing. Oh my gosh. Their leader, what's his name?
Pong.
So the seals decide to take them for a trip. They all get in a boat and get pulled along, and all of a sudden they look to the side and, Admiral, there be whales here.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Oh, I think this is the first and only time we see whales in this franchise.
I believe you're right.
Whales compared to a mouse. Like, this thing is an island.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this section kind of reminds me of the Bellmaker, where we get to see creatures that would only appear in like an ocean journey, like how we got the shark in Bellmaker.
Yes.
And they trust the seals. They're like, look, the seals know where they're taking us. We don't, but you know what? They seem to be friendly, so we're going to trust them.
Yes. I don't have that attitude. Sometimes if I'm waiting on a street corner and someone comes up to me trying to help, maybe I haven't actually decided if they're trying to help or just being jerks. They're just like, here, you got to go this way. I'm like, no, I think I know where I'm going. Please go away.
Please, fight me right here, right now.
Yeah.
To be fair, this crew does not really know where they're going, and they don't really have a good way to get there.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back in Mossflower, so a determined Log-a-Log, Skipper, Rangapaw with otters and the entire Gossam. Yeah, there's not going to be any jackdaws left in the entire countryside.
Right.
So they find Rollo in a ditch, and they're nice to Skipper because they see that his wounds are bothering him. And Log-a-Log's like, look, you stay and protect Rollo. We'll take care of the rest.
Yeah.
So it lets him feel useful. And the very first thing that happens is they find the jackdaw that stole the pearl, and Rangapaw hits him across the head with her javelin so hard it snaps the thing in half and instantly kills him.
Yep.
And Log-a-Log kills another, and just they get decimated. Like the otters and shrews don't even get hurt.
Yeah.
Fury.
Yep. And Geralt somehow is still alive.
Yeah.
He's like the unkillable owl.
Yeah. They say it's amazing. Unfortunately, Picknim is gone.
Yep.
And they kind of hinted at it earlier, like you mentioned, that they were saying like, oh no, Picknim, sorry.
Yeah.
And Rollo is angry, and he just goes, find the pearl, now burn this damn place to the ground.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And just to take the dagger and stab it even more into your heart, they say, so they return with the bad news, and we get the scene where they quietly just bury Picknim because they don't want, because she was so young. And we get the line with Cracklin singing.
Oh, yeah.
Her sweet voice, which had sounded out in harmony with Picknim's many times before, was now alone.
Yeah.
God, I had a hard time just reading that while keeping composure.
Yep.
But we then get renewed determination from our heroes. Like, Picknim would want us to continue on. She would want us to make sure her death was not for nothing.
Yep. And I mean, they did have a little bit of time where they were just kind of refusing to eat and lounging around. And I'm just saying, if this was an adult book, that dealt with adult themes like grief and stuff, they would, it'd be about a week before food would taste good again. At least that's what it was like for me. Like the few days after my friend Rachel died, like anything I ate tasted like sandpaper. Like it took days before I was like, you know what? Hey, that actually was a good meal that I had, and it was good, and I actually finished the whole thing, and wow. So yeah, but I mean, I get it. Like he can't tackle heavy things like grief and like the 5 stages of grief and what it like the things that you go through in a children's book.
Yeah. And I think it works for this book too, or like for books started toward children. Like, look, bad things happen, but sometimes like that determination is what can help you get through it.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that Rollo the Elder is like, look, listen to me. We need to do this. We need to keep moving. And Friar Higgle also like helps give them encouragement. And they decide like, all right, we're going to find those pearls. And then the line, and when we do, we'll stuff them down the throats of those scum who kidnapped our friends one by one.
I love the line right after it. Friar Higgle crept smiling from the infirmary, murmuring, very nice talk for young Abbey maids. Charming. Enjoy your tea.
Indeed.
So then they start looking at the new clue, which is there is a warrior. Where is a sword? Peace did he bring, the fighting lord. Shed for him my fifth tear. Find it in the title here, written in but a single word. An eye is an eye until it is heard.
Yes. And then they have these like random like lines, one of whatever, and I can't, but yeah, those are randomly at the bottom. It was funny. I was talking to Pete about this, and he mentioned, like I mentioned to him, you know, because before when they were kind of stuck on the 4th pearl and not knowing how to find it, they found an acorn in the house martin's nest with the next clue in it. And Tansy's like, I'm not going to read the next clue until we find the pearl. And I was telling Pete, I'm like, but they're on a time crunch. Why wouldn't they just open the thing and start looking for the next pearl? And he's like, because abbots and abbesses are OCD. Like, yep, that tracks.
Yeah, Tansy's like, no, we have to read in order. Now, hang on a second while I wash my hands 3 times.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, we then find out not only is Geralt up and about, well, first of all, Sister Cicely is like, he threw a bowl of my best nettle soup out the window. So if it's the best, does it make people only partially gag?
Well, maybe the best is her is like the worst to everyone else.
Yeah, I know, right? And we find out that he and a bunch of the other Abbey dwellers are just making food to try to, you know, get their spirits up and have fun.
Yeah.
And those moles sound amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the line is like, it didn't look anything like a mole, but the moles thought it did. Something like.
Yep. And Sister Cicely, being a buzzkill, is like, why are you just going to let them go? And Alma goes, let them have their fun. Beat it.
Yeah.
And they discover that it means tapestry is the hidden word. And that ends that. Like, there's a lot of cliffhangers right now.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're getting to the end of a section of the book. So, Ublaz introduces us to his archers, and they are immediately killed.
Woo!
Like, they don't even last a page. Where Ublaz goes, I'm going to hold up my paw and then drop. That's when you shoot Raskanza. And so he does it, goes to the ground, and Raskanza goes, you should watch your step around here. Yeah, it's dangerous. Last night, these 6 clumsy rats tripped and fell on their arrows. And Ublaz is like, run away!
Yep. Oh no! I just put like that cartoon sound effect, and people were like, woo! Like really.
Yeah. Time to get while the getting's good. And yeah, Raskanza has gotten the better of him. And so finally Ublaz is like, okay, I will make a deal. Let's figure this out. I will give you the lumber you need. I'm totally not going to betray you, Sagittar. Prepare the ambush.
Yep.
And now back to the Wave Worm for our final chapter of this part of the book. And
Yep. This is also sad.
Yeah. Where it takes Durrell like a few seconds, like, oh, Lask is dead.
Yep.
And so then he hears Romska outside, manages to open the door, and just there's bodies everywhere.
The bodies hit the floor. The bodies hit the floor.
I knew that was coming.
And Durrell finds Romska leaning up against the mast, and she's like, we're the only two left alive. Quick, lash the tiller into place. It's going to take you to San Petra.
Yeah, because she's like, you won't be able to sail back to Mossflower, and just tell the people that you meet that you knew me, and they might help you.
Yeah, and she wants Durrell to be looked after. She's like, tell them you're my friend, and hopefully they'll take good care of you.
Yep, and doesn't she say like, don't move me because like the mast is the only thing holding me together or something like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, and she even says like, you don't want to see what Lask did to me, like what his claws did. And when he tries to feed her, she's like, you're really too nice. Don't, save the food for yourself.
Yeah.
And like her final line is
oh man,
like he even says, you'll live to see your friends again, and it's like, rest my child, and she goes, my child, I like that, thank you, my father.
Oh man, it just
they just
it makes me tear up every time.
Yeah, that, oh god, these two. And it's like one of the few moments you can think of where like a quote unquote like an antagonist death is heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
So
and doesn't it, he like kind of sits there and kind of rocks her for a little bit.
Yep. And just sits there with her, and then he's the only one left on the ship now.
Yep. And he
go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say he like tosses all the bodies out and then goes back into the cabin.
Yep. Let the bodies hit the water.
Yeah. That doesn't quite fit in the same way.
No.
Let the bodies hit the water. It sounds like I don't know, like a beatboxing beat.
So that is the end of book 2.
Yep.
A lot happens in this one. Like, this does not feel like a transition, only making way for like the big events to happen in book 3. A lot of big events happen in this book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of sad events too.
Oh yeah.
So what did you two think?
I really like this, like, because I mean things are building, the tension's building, and you don't like reading this the first time, you have no idea really what's going to happen. And yeah, I think it does prove that this quest for the pearls, like, when I was first reading it and it said, you will have sorrow and joy and it'll be dangerous. I was like, how could finding pearls in Redwall be dangerous? Well,
dirt, 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 dirt.
Yeah.
Then you get the evil Satanian birds involved, and yeah. Yep.
The Satan birds, yeah.
The Satan birds.
And
maybe, Satanian does kind of sound like, if you say it quickly enough, it sounds like Satan.
Indeed. And
Go on.
Oh, I had a couple more things. I was just gonna say, I think this is the first. It wasn't exactly on screen, but like the youngest child that we've seen, like main character child, get killed. So that's a thing. And also, I never thought that I'd be very sad and cry over a vermin death. I mean, that's the first time that's happened. Okay, I'm done.
Drew?
Silence.
I was just like, oh, I wonder if Jeremy has anything.
Oh no, I was waiting for you.
I like in this book that there's always something happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's not flashing back to the villain who's just sitting on their throne like, yes, my evil machinations are coming together. There's always a plan in motion. There's always some kind of action. There's, a bunch of different factions that are at each other's throats. And it's never boring. It's something that drags you chapter to chapter, and it just pulls you further into it until you're like, I finished book 2 about 3 hours ago, and I'm already like 5 chapters into book 3 because wow. I was just like, oh, you can't end it there. You can't do that to me. I gotta know. One thing, I just find it so funny that anytime the villain isn't in Redwall, like the villain's very far away and there has to be an antagonist in Redwall, Brian's like, hit him with the birds. Yeah. Birds attack. It's all their fault. And, yes. Birds don't need walls.
I love how your Brian Jakes voice always ends up sounding like this gruff sort of New Yorker type person.
I'm Brian Jakes. I write books for children.
Yeah, I really like this book. Like you said, Drew, it feels like it's constantly moving forward. There's things happening on every side. It's kind of like in Martin the Warrior, where you have like Martin's crew, you have Feldo's crew, you have Badgering and Clog at each other's throats. Like there's always something happening with every group. It's not like in I love Mariel of Redwall, don't get me wrong, but like every time they go back to Gabool, it's Gabool's a little bit crazier now.
Yep.
He's exactly who I was talking about when I talked about like you go back to the main villain and they're like waiting in the wings. They're like the evil end boss. But yeah, Gabool, it was just like, oh, what's Gabool up to? And Gabool seeing us, they're like, yeah. And they're like, and back to the action.
Gabool's like, raisins.
That was a great Gabool voice. Do that again.
Huh?
Do the Gabool again.
Raisins. I'm crazy Gabool. I got a scorpion.
You're gonna kill me this podcast. My chest hurts.
So that is it for book 2. We will be back next time with book 3, which is When Tears Are Shed, which I think that already happened in this section.
That already happened.
Yeah, like what other tears are really going to be shed? In the meantime, you can find us at recorderonthewall.com. We are on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever you want to call it. Google Play Podcasts. Pete says the wheels are in motion for Spotify.
Hooray!
Yoo-hoo! We are on the Eulalia subreddit. We are also on the official Redwall forums. We have a Twitter account at ROTWpod. We have an email address, rotwpod@gmail.com, if you want to send us feedback or questions. We'll eventually do another Q&A episode. Don't worry, we're sticking with the books for right now. We saw our numbers jump. We know what you want. And yeah, so until next time, I'm Jeremy.
I'm Katie.
I'm Drew.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.